Hey guys, Michelle here from Michelle's Craft Corner, and in today's video we're going to be making this awesome card. Isn't that just gorgeous? And this was made using the new Eastern Medallion Thinlit dies. You can do so much with these dies, and it's just a really awesome product suite. So let's get started. So this is a close-up of the card we're going to be doing today. This was made using the Eastern Medallions Thinlits. It just turned out gorgeous. I really love the look of this. Now I also wanted to show you, this is a slightly different version. This was using the Fresh Fig, and today we're going to be using the Dapper Denim. Only difference between the two is the background was cut a little smaller and I added a gold layer. So just another look, but showing that this looks great in all the Stampin' Up! Colors. So let's get started. So to make this gorgeous card, we of course are going to need our cardstock in Dapper Denim. There's that. We're also going to need some gold foil sheets. Now you won't need a ton. The pack comes with two 12 by 12 sheets, so we're only going to need enough to just cut out some of our shapes. Little will go a long way for this particular card. You're also going to need another piece of Dapper Denim as well. This one is cut, I don't know if you can read that, by 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay. We're also going to need some Whisper White as well, and this is cut at 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. If you can read that. Okay, so there are our papers. Now after the papers, we of course are going to need a couple of tools for this card. Leave this out. Okay, so of course the Eastern Medallion Thinlits, which are just gorgeous. You can do so many things. I mean, just a quick Pinterest search and there's so many awesome cards already using this set. Particularly with this card, we're going to be using this shape and this one. And then for the edge, which you'll see a little clearer in a minute when you see this shape, we're going to be using this bigger of the outer rings, the one with the triangles for the inner, and then the one also with the smaller shapes for the center, but we'll get to that in a second. So you're going to need this set, of course. Now to cut out the outer circle, because otherwise it's just going to be stuck on your gold, I used the bigger of the circle framelits. Now if you don't want to use the bigger of the circle framelits, you can attempt to hand cut it out, but it will be a big pain. You can also do a square corner if you don't have the circle framelits, but these are awesome. You should totally get these, and only 35 bucks, and you can do a lot with those. The other thing that makes cutting out using the Medallion Thinlet so much easier is the awesome, oh, there we go, Stampin' Up! Magnetic platform. Because it's got those magnets on it, it helps the metal framelits stick and not slide. So definitely makes it a lot easier to run through the big shot. If you don't have the magnetic platform, you can still use the standard platform to cut out the framelits. You just may want to use some washi tape to hold them in place to keep them from sliding. The other thing that's really useful for this project is the die brush. Now these framelits, while gorgeous, have lots of tiny little pieces. Now if you run them through a few extra times, they will pop out easier, but just having that little bristle brush and running it over kind of helps them pop out on that mat. So another awesome tool to have for this project. We're also going to use the 3/4 circle punch. If you don't have this size, you can use a couple other sizes bigger. And of course our paper snips, just a little fine cutting. Dimensionals, you guys know I love the dimensionals. And the other thing we're going to be using is Stampin' Up's new gold faceted gems. Now these are absolutely gorgeous. This video will not do them justice, trust me. Also available in silver. $5 pack has 72 gems. I've already used a few of them in 3 different sizes, so kind of small, medium, and large. We're going to be using the large for this particular one, but they are just absolutely gorgeous. Love, love, love these. They just have such a nice iridescence to them. Oh, you're definitely going to want some of these. All right, so that is all of our products. So let's go ahead and get started. And then of course, glue. I always forget the glue somehow. Okay, so first off, we're going to start with our piece of Dapper Denim cardstock, which this is one of the in colors. It's just a lovely shade of blue. Just love that. So we're going to stick this piece. Now this is already cut and scored. And we're going to do our Framelit sandwich. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like real quick. All right. So we're going to have the mat, or the platform, one of our plastic acrylic pads. Then we're going to put our paper down. Then we're going to pick our thinlits. And for this one, yet again, so I'm using this one. Now I centered it in the center of the card, just like that, kind of eyeballing it. And then we're also using the little tiny diamond in the set as well. So when you run it through, and I just eyeballed it basically right with the point of each of those sides and ran it through. Oops, sorry if I'm shaking the camera. There we go. Okay. Ran it through. Now you also have to run it through an extra 1, 2, 3 times to get that shape on those other spots. Then they will just pop out so quick and easy. Oh, well, yes, you have the paper, and then you have, of course, the other piece on top and run it through. Sorry if that was confusing. So, magnetic platform, one plate, paper, other plate. So, run that through, and then you will get this awesome shape, which is our base shape for this card. Now, also using our gold scraps, we're going to cut out our shape for the corners. Now this is actually just one of these cut into 4 quadrants, so a half in quarters essentially. So each one is on one of those corners, excuse me. So to get this shape, you use just a small piece of that gold foil. We're going to use this shape that's got kind of the pointy, it's like a point and a rounded and a point and a rounded. Keep in mind, make sure that's down. The next layer is this one that's got the lots of triangles. So we're going to stick that in the center. And then the very center of our shape, we're going to use this one that's just got the lots of little, I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Just lots of little squares and triangles. Now, if you wanted to do something slightly different, I mean, this set, you have a lot of different variations that you can do with these other shapes. So basically, layer that and sandwich, run it through, and you will get that shape, just like that. Take this off. All right. And then for our shape for the center, we're going to use this same shape that we used before to cut out the center. To cut out the center. And stick that on there. Now you can run this at the same time because it does happen to fit in perfectly. And then we're going to take our little flower shape and just lay that right inside. Just like that. Other one on top. Run it through the Big Shot and you will get this fun shape. Now, it doesn't fully cut out the flower, it just kind of cuts out those petals, and you can push them up and kind of give it a little dimension, which is kind of really a cool effect. Just like that. Okay. So, now you've gotten all your pieces cut. You've got your big piece, you've got your smaller piece. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, today's Post-it notes are brought to you by the color Dapper Denim. Almost forgot. All right, so we went ahead and we have our piece cut out. Let me go ahead and fold this real quick. We've got our pieces. So we're going to start by covering up those little diamonds in the corners. I guess if I fold it, you can't see them. Okay, so I'm going to use just a piece of gold scrap. Now, when you're doing these shapes, they're not, you're going to have a little bit of scrap left. Now, I found that the 3/4 circle punch is just the right size to cover those. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out 4 of those using that punch. I'm going to put those as close together as possible. There we go. And now we're going to flip to the inside and we're going to glue those circles over our little diamonds. So if you flip it over, it just see that gold inlay right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue those down. Now I just do a little glue on each of the 4 corners, just a little dot, and stick my circle on top. Now if you have a different size circle you want to do, you could do that as well. This just happened to be a really good size. Oh, there's the other 2. So this is a really quick card, and I think it just makes such a nice statement. I was really happy how this one turned out. I've been playing with this set a lot, trying to figure out what card I wanted to make for this video. All right, so if you see, you flip that over, you can see that nice gold inlay. Now if you look on the inside, we've got our circles, but don't worry, we're going to do a panel on the inside and cover that up. So don't stress if that is bothering you. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we've got those down, is we're going to stick this piece inside. Now right now you can see if I try to glue it, it's not going to stay. So this is where that piece of Whisper White comes in. This is that scrap of 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And we're just going to glue that on the back side, just flat, and that gives this shape just something to adhere to. And don't worry about my numbers. As I said, we're about to cover that in a minute, so nobody will see. Just be careful not to put too much glue in the center here. All right. Okay, so now we flip it over. Now this is another interesting look. You could stamp on this and do some kind of different look with this and just the corners. All right, so you can glue it straight down, but I just really love that slight dimensional look. You guys know I love my dimensionals. I go through these a lot, and only takes one smack in the center of that flower to adhere it, so a little goes a long way. Now to make sure it's lined up, you want to line up your points. So if you line up your points, then it's going to be perfectly centered when you press that dimensional down. Okay. If we just kind of pop up our leaves a little bit, you can see a little bit of that white from below popping through. Not too bad so far. All right, so the next thing we need to deal with is this shape. Now this is a gorgeous, gorgeous shape you can do so much with, but it is a little intricate and can be a little tricky to work with. So what I recommend is when you're cutting it up, cut in straight lines. You want to cut between even spaces. That's just easier to track. If you have a paper trimmer, you can try cutting that, but I just really like using my paper snips for this one. So I'm going to cut for this one from that point to that point, straight across, trying to keep it as nice and even as I can. Hopefully this is showing up okay. Let me see if that, oh, there we go, that looks a little better. Okay, so okay, so we got nice and a half, and then do that again, cutting a half straight across. Keep in mind, depending on how you lined up your center piece, it may not be a perfect shape. So we've got 2 of our little wedges. I'm going to cut 2 more. we go. So now we have our 4 wedges for the corners. Now, because this is such an intricate and thin die, I really recommend using the silicone craft sheet. Now, this is just a really thin silicone piece that is meant to be glued on. It doesn't hold the glue. It kind of dries and wipes right off. It keeps your workspace clean, because I know we've all had that moment where we get glue on something and don't realize it till much later. So for adhering this one, I like the fine tip of this, but you can also use our fine tip glue as well. Just doing a little dot of glue on some of the bigger areas. You don't have to go hog wild, but I do want to make sure you get this point and a little of that outer edge. Just kind of, as long as you move quickly. But yet again, this silicone mat is great for this. Okay, so I've got my glue on it. I'm going to grab a corner where I didn't put glue. So we're just basically going to line up that corner to corner, just like that, and do a gentle press. There we go, just like that. So we just repeat that. We are almost done. As I said, this is a really quick and simple card with these framelits. I just really like how this one turned out. Kind of has a very Eastern, Middle East look to it. Flip. Line it up a little. If a little of the glue leaks, don't worry, it will dry clear. You can always wipe that away. See, pretty just like that. So if you just wanted to do 2 corners, also looks nice. But we'll just go ahead and finish this real quick. Clip and glue. Like that. Now, I'm sure you guys are like, well, what about the inside? Because you don't want to give this to somebody and have them see that. It doesn't really look very professional. That is what the extra sheet of the Dapper Denim was for, and this yet again was cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And if you need to, you can trim it a little shorter, just depending on if your card measurements were exactly standard or not. So we're just going to glue this down. I mean, if you could also use some of the new Designer Series paper that coordinates with this Eastern Palace suite if you like. Or you could do an extra sheet of white for more room to write, but for this video I just figured to keep it simple. So there we go. Inside panel covers up all the fussy stuff. If you go over a little bit, you can just trim it out. So there we go. And then of course our finishing touch, our gold faceted gem. I mean, they're just so gorgeous. So gorgeous. Peel. We've got the little adhesive in the back. You just pop it off and stick it down just like that. And there you have it, a quick and easy card using the Eastern Medallions Thinlits, a set that I'm sure if you get, you will absolutely love, as there's just so much you can do with this one. Well, thanks guys for checking out this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next Friday. Bye-bye.